This is Papa Smurf. You're listening to Our Lifestyle, the podcast, with ODB and the Mayor.
Yo, it's Our Lifestyle Podcast, and this is ODB. We want to thank our title sponsors, Custom Car Show Productions. They have 4 main events every year: Orange Beach Invasion every March in Orange Beach, Alabama. After Hours Car, Bike, and Truck Show. That is every April, typically at Hank Aaron Stadium in Alabama. Scraping the Coast needs no introduction every June in Biloxi, Mississippi. And then Bayou Showdown in Slidell, Louisiana every November. Also, big ups to our additional title sponsor, Mini Truck Showdown. This show is going down in June, Vegas, first weekend in 2022. So come on out and gallivant out to Las Vegas. This is your opportunity to make it out to the amazing city. Remember, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Of course, that doesn't include our coverage of Mini Truck Showdown next year. And then lastly, part of the Mini Truck Showdown family, Kern County Showdown, which is going to be the first weekend in February in Bakersfield, California. Kern County Showdown, Mini Truck Showdown. Be there 2022. Enjoy the episode.
Do it.
Yo, it's Our Lifestyle Podcast, episode 263. This one's going to be an awesome episode, and we got to thank 2 of our title sponsors. Of course, we got Bayou Showdown, which is going to be this weekend in Slidell, Louisiana, part of the Custom Car Show Productions umbrella, and then our family over at Mini Truck Showdown. Really, their premier event is going to be next June, first weekend in June, Mini Truck Showdown. Come on out to Vegas with us. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be technically the 3rd through the 5th of 2022 in June. And again, come on out to Vegas. But I think we got Miggity Mike the Mayor. I think he has dialed in. What's going down?
Bro, 2 weeks in a row, pop that code, and I'm here, brother. Just glad to be here with you and the Airhead Nation.
I love hearing it, man. This episode, we have someone by the name of Jeremy Kaufman, longtime member of local Finesse. Mike, last week we had Robert Kamalski, also known as Tall Guy, based upon the book that he wrote. And I wanted to delve and dive a little bit more into local Finesse's history. And I thought, hey, you know what? Let's reach out, talk to Brian Good from Grinder TV. And he goes, yo, hit up Jeremy Kaufman. So I think it'll play in well to that. And they've been around, the local Finesse crew have been around since the late 80s, so you know it should be good, homie.
Dude, I tell you what, there has been some clubs that have been around, that 30-year mark, and they've been around for a long time.
Yeah, I've always loved their logos, so we'll get into that a little bit with Jeremy later. Might try to touch base with Ron. I know him and Hank have been, just hitting every gentleman's club. They actually, Mike, I don't know if you know this, but they gallivanted down. Dude, Ron does not stay in one place for long. He made the trek after SEMA back home and then down to Dino's Get Down. So maybe him or Ruben can give us the intel. They said it was amazing out there.
Yeah, and you call me the Gallivanting Man. I think we got a new Gallivanting Man on our hands.
Yeah, we're going to have to get a year-end trophy award for the biggest Gallivanter. And I tell you what, if anybody's coming off the top ropes, it's got to be Hank and Ron this year. I mean, they've been everywhere.
Yes, they have. They have definitely put some miles on the hammered homie vehicle over there. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, last I heard, Hank demanded to be dropped off in Mexico for a couple weeks. I don't know what that's about. But if anybody spots him,
What's in Mexico that he could possibly want in Mexico?
I don't know. He said right just south of San Diego. He said just drop me at the line there, dude. He'll find his way back. So you just never know, man.
Well, all I know is that everything he can get in Mexico, he can get right here in the good old United States.
Yeah, you would think, man. He was talking about tunnels and stuff. So I was like, I don't know what that meant,
Well, maybe he is the new Mutt Bandit.
Nah, they can't take. Dude, you're out there in the mail truck all day. I know you're always trying to sneak those magazines that are in plastic bags,
I I don't know what you're talking about. It's in dark black plastic bags. I
Yeah.
can't see anything. I don't know what's in there.
Wall Street Journal, I heard.
I'm going to say that's probably not the case.
I hear you. Well, the episode overview is brought to you by Graphics Mafia. Graphics Mafia. We tell you time and time again, if you need stickers or you need some design work, or maybe you've got an old decal that you want to bring back to life, they even hooked up Chad Luke. Recently, he was going to SEMA. He was in a pinch. He needed about 10 decals. Hit up Graphics Mafia, GRAPHIXMafia.com. They're on TikTok. They're also on Instagram, Facebook, of course. You can message them. Talk to Buddy and let him know that we said, hey, Buddy. And Ryan, either one of them, they'll take care of you.
I like the way you go from, hey, buddy, to Ryan.
Yeah, Ryan, dude, we got to get him, we got to get him back on. You know what I'm saying? We got to get Ryan's, got to get his enthusiasm ramped up, dude, because he's going to have to take over at some point.
Well, I'm just curious if he's going to actually drive this year when we head out to LST, or do you think he's even going to go with us this year? I mean, you're snoring and my driving. I don't know if he's going to make it back out there next year.
Dude, I really want to get the same van, but I want to get the ones with like the beds in the back and stuff like that, so we can sleep while you're driving. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like a bunk bed deal.
Oh, okay. All right. Hey, as long as there is a partition in the middle to where I can block out all that damn snoring, I'm down with that.
All right. We'll have to get the Snoop Dogg version, you know what I mean? All laced out, West Coast custom style. So we'll have to see. But, Mike, speaking of the last episode recap, Robert Kamalski came on. A couple guys kept, chiming in, local finesse, going, hey, tall guy. That was his nickname. And I just thought it was a unique experience to be able to have an author on, technically, right? But I also forgot to mention this. When he had texted me a day or two later, and he reminded me that all of the proceeds of this book go back to the Courtney Halliwell Foundation. So, even going back to when Courtney, rest in peace, had the stroke, and then obviously, he had eventually went on, unfortunately, to pass away about 10 years ago. All of the proceeds over the course of time have went to, Maggie and to help with this foundation, right? And she talked a little bit about that when we did the tribute episode. So I wanted to make sure everyone knew that, Mike. It's definitely one to add to the collection if you're a mini trucker. Just Google Local Finesse Roads to Ruin, and you'll see the Robert Kamalski book. I think he said it goes to like blurb, and then it prints out of Canada technically, but it wasn't too expensive, and I really enjoyed it.
No, absolutely, and it was a great interview. Lots of good stories and lots of good information too.
Yeah, and I think too, Mike, the key was that the statute of limitations had been up, right? Because there was a lot of stuff in there that I was like, damn, dude. Thank God I wasn't rolling with these guys back in the day, because I mean, dude, they were crazy, dude. You know what I'm saying? So I think now all that's ran out, so now they can't get in trouble. You know what I mean?
Yeah, big time.
So the last episode recap brought to you by our family at Lone Star Throwdown. Yes, Lone Star Throwdown is technically sold out from a participant standpoint. However, you can fly in to Conroe, Texas, or Houston rather, one of the neighboring cities. Some people even go into Dallas to get their fix of In-N-Out Burger. But last weekend in February, please join us in Conroe, Texas for the 11th annual Lone Star Throwdown. Of course, you can buy tickets, bands rather, to get in. And it is arguably the biggest, baddest truck show anywhere. There's a few cars sprinkled in there, and we'll talk about the new street trucks in a little bit. But the new street trucks December 2021 issue mentions February 25th through the 27th. It's LoneStarThrowdown.com in Conroe, Texas. So, Mike, dude, let's talk about some general updates, man. It's been a week or so since we got a chance to link up. But what else has been going down, homie?
Bro, it's been one of those weeks of just getting caught back up, actually around my house, and trying to get everything over here and over at our rental, from sod to mulch to all that stuff getting laid and getting all refreshed, and just getting ready for the holiday season, brother. We got the Friendsgiving going to be going down here at the Murray residence. no, not mansion, but the Murray residence. And so we're getting ready for that. And, just it's the holidays, man, they're almost here. And so we've been preparing for that. And then, of course, right after the holidays comes down to Eastbound Get Down there, January 21st to the 23rd. They're at Destination Daytona. So we look forward to that. So we've been doing a lot of planning and a lot of preparing for that as well.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear it, man. Holidays, like you said, they're upon us. Get the full holiday movies, cracking, the Home Alone, the Christmas Vacation, all your favorites. And like you said, before you know it, we're going to be getting fishtailing rather into January. And that's when, I'd love to try to get Jim Mora, on to talk a little bit about the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm most looking forward to in January. You know what I mean?
Playoffs?
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, dude. I mean, dude, there's no way. I mean, dude, that meltdown. It's one of my favorite words, by the way, too, man. That has to be the most, epic sports meltdown. That one, and then the dude that was the Minnesota/Arizona coach for a while.
Oh, Dennis Green.
Yeah, Dennis Green. Yeah, those were epic ones. But, no, that's good, Mike. I know you're super stoked about everything. I want to talk to John and see if he can do some of those old 80s hats where, the front barely even stays up. And then the back is, definitely need the trucker deal. But I want to have it where there's, 20 different, little clips. You know what I'm saying? Like the old 80s ones. And I'm going to see if you guys could do some of those hats for me. You know what I'm saying? For the show.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely.
Special request.
Whatever you need. Taking all requests, and that's that one I can definitely make happen.
Now, I think what you should do is remind people when they Google it, it's Eastbound Get Down Show, right? Or they can just type in the website. But if they just Google it, I got to say, I know you linked up with Jason Bell, Jason Barbaglia from Relaxin' Northwest, of course, DJ Mays, and then, just our different families. And you linked up with them, and you did a damn good job on the website. It seems really easy and user-friendly.
Oh, it's definitely easy. And but, hey, it's never too easy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. And like I said, I had asked John on Instagram. I had put a question, because you know me, I'm an enthusiast. I always have questions about shows, and I asked if animals were allowed, and he did confirm as long as they're on a leash. So I relayed that back to Ron and those guys. Okay.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, because Hank is definitely he's got to be on a leash when he comes out there for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So, and then I always want to remind people. Before you start putting drones up and stuff, make sure you check with the show promoters. But you can also check, because sometimes if they're too close to airports, you can't put them up anyways, right, Mike?
Yeah, but we don't have to worry about that down there. Bring them out.
And just fly them, whatever you do, fly them over the yellow truck for a long time and just see how long the battery lasts, right? So.
But the question is which yellow truck?
Yeah, the banana hammock.
It's the banana.
Check the hashtag Project Banana Hammock. All right, so Mike, check this out. I was a little worried with talking about something I don't talk about a lot with the NFL. So, the Packers almost, with the backup quarterback, almost knocked out the Chiefs, right? Super Bowl rematch from back in the day. And that game, I mean, I was disappointed they had lost. Streak ended. Of course, A-Rod, also known as Karen Rodgers, he was out that game. So I was a little worried he's going to come back rusty. Then I heard Russell Wilson's coming back. So for the Pack to shut out, the only shutout of Russell Wilson's career in Lambeau, Russell Wilson just did not seem like he was hitting on all cylinders. He's an elite quarterback. I was super excited, though, because now Mike, with some of the teams that lost, I hate to rub it in, including the Bucks and Rickety Ron's Cardinals, okay, they got smashed. Dude, it's now the Packers are up there. And I hate to say it, dare I say, the freaking Cowboys are somehow doing well this year. So, we'll have to see how it ends up. And keep me honest, Mike, isn't there one more game this year? There's 17 games?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we went from 16 to 17.
And then now there's only one first-round bye. That's the number one seed, AFC, and then, of course, NFC. And then the number 2 doesn't get the bye anymore because they're going to be, there'll be that extra game or whatever. So, yeah. Interesting. So we'll have to see how it goes, man. You know, do you think? I mean, obviously you're a big Bucks fan. Do you think that people are just figuring out, the Bucks in terms of the defense playing, or what's the deal? Like, have you seen any kind of consistent deal there?
Well, first of all, the Bucks defense is horrible. We have the highest paid defensive coordinator in the league, and our defense is trash. So that's done. That's over. They done figured that out. So you can forget about that. And I think it's finally we got Tom Brady that's had 5 turnovers the last 2 games. I think his age might be finally starting to catch up with him. You know what I'm saying?
Well, see, I don't like when you say that, because every time you do say that, he bounces back like no tomorrow. So I see where you're kind of doing a subliminal. So we'll have to see, man.
That's what I'm hoping for. So we'll see what happens. But that's my, because our defense right now is trash. I mean, it's playing bad. It's playing really bad. So we'll see what happens going forward. But our offense isn't playing all that well either. So it seems like ever since Antonio Brown got hurt and has been out, it hasn't been the same. So I don't know. And Gronk has been hurt as well. So we'll see. We got the Giants this weekend. So hopefully we can bounce back, but definitely can't make no promises. That's for damn sure.
Real deal. The general updates brought to you by Southeast Mini Truck and Nats, also known as Mini Nats. Even if you can't get a ticket, the golden ticket into the event next April in Maggie Valley, just know the city embraces all the mini truckers that come in. Gallivant on in to Maggie Valley, do the cruise, go to the show, have a good time. Arguably, you'll have just as fun, if not more fun. So come on down, Southeast Mini Nats. They're on Facebook. They're on Instagram. You guys know we'll be there. We'll be covering it next year, and we'll talk to Jason Bell later this year / early next year about the event. So, Mike, dude, I couldn't believe last week, you put me on the spot. You say, hey, we got to bring in some music. I can't believe you didn't remember about the game Press Your Luck with the, remember where it was like no whammies and it would go doot, 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 doot. And then I told you the story about how the guy you had a VHS player. I know back in the day you had all kinds of tapes. Well, this guy would record the show and he'd watch it in slow-mo and he figured out the pattern. So then when then the guy got on the show and he knew the pattern. So, dude, he couldn't lose, dude. So I can't believe you didn't remember about Press Your Luck. That was the classic back in the day.
Bro, I had no I did not remember that one. So, yeah, you got me on that one. You definitely stumped me on that one for sure.
Yeah. Well, here we go.
Okay, players, now it's time to get serious.
Oh, this one, I mean, I'm going to start ratcheting them up after this week, right? Because I can't keep throwing, some softballs in there. But this TV show is an American action comedy television series. It aired from from January 79 to about February 85. So 7 seasons, about 150 episodes, consistently among top-rated TV series. The show was about 2 guys who lived in a rural area, and they were on probation.
All right, so do I get to phone a friend or ask for another clue?
You'd have. I mean, I'm sorry that Mike Finnegan's not available.
Oh shit, Mike Finnegan's not available. God damn it! And I kind of figured that's a clue that you were trying to give me without giving me a clue.
Yeah, because he's definitely a big fan of this show.
Oh, he is, huh?
Yeah, he really likes scuba diving and stuff.
He likes scuba diving. Holy shit. Scuba diving, Mike Finnegan, I know Roadkill, Overkill, Roadkill.
Well, I mean, when you're on probation, I mean, especially you remember back in those days, where a lot of places, they had prohibition and stuff, and if you're running moonshine, you could get in a lot of trouble,
Oh, yeah.
Especially when you're when you're a good kid, you know what I'm saying? You don't mean any bad,
You mean when you're a good old boy, and you don't mean no harm?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
kinda. Now, so did they believe in like shaved door handles, or did they just not like using them? I mean, I'm just kind of curious.
The rumor has it they were some of the first mini truckers. You know what I mean? They were doing mods to their
Oh,
car and stuff. You know, Jesse.
oh, hey, well, check this out, and you might even remember this. Back in the day, okay, we had the TV guide, and in the TV guide, they would always have like clips of the TV shows where there was like, say, like for example, said TV show, they were jumping over a pile, like a bridge that was like and they were missing the bumper.
Yeah.
But in the show, you didn't notice it. But then the TV guy shows that a steel picture of it, where it's missing the bumper as it's jumping.
Of Hank jumping the car.
These good old boys, and it was Hank. But see, from what I understand, Hank only was in studio and was only came around if they put his trailer next to Daisy Duke's trailer.
Yeah, they did. Yeah,
Okay.
We could be talking about the same show. I can't give you any more clues, you know.
Yeah, no. I don't need no more clues. I think I might know which one it is, because as soon as you said, two brothers, in rural country and whatnot, right away, I thought of Chips. Yeah. And I don't know if you remember, I don't know if you remember that, Punch and Puncharelli or whatever the hell his name was. Yeah. I thought of rural, but then I was like, wait a minute, that's like in California or something, man,
Yeah.
But then I thought about how, they had that awesome color of a vehicle. And then I remember something about Cooter, and I just remember Cooter. I remember why I remember Cooter, but something about Cooter and Boss Hog. Yeah. I remember something about Boss Hog.
He had a Cadillac, didn't he?
Yes. Big Boss Hog. And he had those big old horns on the front of it. But, brother, you definitely threw me a softball this week. And I appreciate that, because the Dukes of Hazzard, I can't believe it only lasted for 7 seasons.
It doesn't even seem right, does it?
No, it doesn't. Not at all. Because, man, that has got to be by far one of the best TV shows of our time right there.
Yeah, brother.
Hands down. But I do like the way you're kind of tricky there. But, hey, Dukes of Hazzard, for sure. It was one of the best shows of all time. And I appreciate you bringing that back up, because it was good to relive those memories.
Yeah, man, it was. And remember, we did that episode, and it was funny. We talked a lot about it because it was a big part of our childhood. What was cool, too, for those that don't know, Waylon Jennings, my dad was a big fan of him, so was Michael Charles. He narrated the show, but he also sang the song, the theme from the Dukes of Hazzard, So I'm not a huge country fan. I can, I know a little bit more about hip-hop and rap, but I tell you, country, bro, I know you get down to that stuff and line dance and all that stuff, so it's kind of cool, right, Mike?
Oh, absolutely. Line dancing. Me and Shannon, we line dance every Thursday night at the local country bar, and we have a good time.
I love it, man. Well, the Trivia with Mike brought to you by our family at All Time Low Magazine. Trust us when we say atlmagazine.com. You can order a subscription. Individual issues are available. However, they do go quick. atlmagazine.com. Go to magazines. They also have different merch available. Issue 28 available for $20, or a 6-issue subscription is $100. And just know that a little bit more expensive, but than a typical magazine, but a lot of high quality and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears go into this one. atlmagazine.com. So, Mike, dude, talking about the scene updates, man. I saved a couple things this week, but you had mentioned Eastbound Get Down. I know last week we briefly talked about it. I finally did get a chance to see the second artwork. You kind of hinted at it last week, and both of them came together really awesome. And, man, wow, I know you're excited to really get going here with the show season next year.
Oh, bro, can't wait. And definitely looking forward to, kicking it off. And, we've put in a lot of time, me and Shannon and John and Kim putting a lot of time and effort into this. So we definitely look forward to putting it on for everybody and everybody coming out and having a damn good time.
Real deal, man. Bob Hayes had posted, he said, after 11 years of being moved around and getting some things done, I'm happy to say, for the first time since Los followed me to get it body dropped 11 years ago, Josh has got the Astro to start and run on its own. Still a ton to do, and he kind of is given an update on the famous Astro van. So it's pretty cool to see that. It was funny, got a chance to talk, as I mentioned recently, to Radar and Bob Hayes out at the Mini Truck Hall of Fame. And Bob had us cracking up with some old school stories and whatnot. And we're excited to see what we can continue to help the Mini Truck Hall of Fame with Mike and I assisting and being on the committee. We obviously have some ideas, but then also Bob has some different things too that he's been thinking about. So, as we go forward, hopefully we'll be able to announce, 2022, some of those inductees and things like that. And Mike, just excited for the future.
Oh, dude, absolutely. And like you said, we had talked about it, and me and Shannon, and we actually plan on making a trip out to SEMA next year, and which hopefully we can get there early enough. We want to be there on that Sunday,
Mm-hmm.
and with the Mini Truckin' Hall of Fame being on that Monday, so being there for the Mini Truckin' Hall of Fame as well next year.
Yeah, real deal. It's going to be good times. And like I've told everyone, if you have an opportunity, you could do a dry run. If you've never been to SEMA, come out first weekend in June next year for Mini Truck Showdown. That'll give you an idea of what to expect. I know this last trip, I didn't have a rental car, so it was a lot of Uber. Primarily, I used Lyft and, taking trams and things like that. But there's a lot of public transit, real easy to get around. And, of course, if you get a rental car, it makes it even easier. But then you got to pay wherever you go to park, that kind of stuff. So more to come, again, on Vegas and, of course, with Mini Truck Hall of Fame for next year. One thing that I noticed, Mike, from a print standpoint, is the new Street Trucks December issue did arrive. And I had mentioned to you before we started that this issue is kind of cool, man. It's in a plastic bag, and it came with a calendar. So a 2022 calendar by Street Trucks, and it's sponsored by POL, which is, I think, Parts Online. They've sponsored some of the live streams. And what's pretty awesome is, again, you got a 12-month calendar and actually like a 13-page deal because you got the calendar for 2023, the little one in the back. But the one downfall is there's no minis on here. There's a lot of C10s. There's, of course, an F100 and so on. But we'll have to strangle them a little bit and get some mini trucks in here for next year if they do it again.
Oh, absolutely, brother. And because like we say all the time, minis are definitely on the rise.
Yeah, brother. The other cool thing is the issue features a crazy Dodge Power Wagon, an insane looking truck. I think it'll be a good selling issue. A lot of good content in this one. You got an update on Artemis. You have a feature of the Acro Tahoe that I saw at C10 Intervention, the thing that's pretty much been reskinned to the newer body style lines and whatnot. A couple C10s, Ford F100, and some tech. Of course, you got the R Lifestyle in the back. I talk a little bit in that column about time, how time flies, and then also some words of advice from the OG Ice-T. He recently, every day he tweets out positive stuff. So I talk a little bit about getting rid of the noise around you. So check that out on page 125. But, Mike, the cool thing in here is the 2022 calendar. So they talk about Lone Star Throwdown 25th through the 27th. Altered Metal Show, that's in March. You have Made of Steel Show in May. And then Mini Truck Showdown the first weekend in June, which I think is awesome. But last week I forgot to talk about, Mike, and I know we haven't got to the show stuff yet, but I do want to reinforce that December 4th. Talk to us a little bit about what's going down there in Orlando as far as what you know, Mike.
Well, from what I know, it's called Toy Drop. So, guys, obviously, when it talks about when the name Toy Drop comes up, first thing is you want to think of is when around that time of Christmas is it's a show. You donating collecting toys, and they're going to give back to the kids. And so this one is no different than all the rest of them. It's going to be over there at Deezerland Park in Orlando, Florida. off of, on International Drive. So it's 5250 International Drive, Orlando, Florida, 32819, and it's on December 4th. Just like Jay had said. And guys, you don't want to miss this. This place. I have not been there yet. I think Jay, have you been there to Deezerland yet?
I've seen the Adam the Woo video of it. That's all I've really seen, and I think Dave Schulman went there too. I think.
Okay, yeah, no, and you are correct. He did. But guys, this place is freaking phenomenal. It's all indoor. It's got the indoor go-karts. It's got the indoor bowling alley. There's a game room. There's just so much stuff for you to do inside and out. It's got the batting cages, and now you're going to have all that. And not only that, but then you're also going to have a car show going on at the same time. Guys, you don't want to miss out on this. They got the Host Hotel, Town Place Suites by Marriott, and the Hampton Inn. So basically, just check out the Toy Drop Auto Show event page, and when you check that out, go on there, and it's going to you'll be able to see all the information that you need, and they're also going to have the audio show there as well. So just come out, check it out, and tons of vendors. So you definitely don't want to miss the show. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I saw Rigo. I saw Jeremy at the VW show last weekend. Actually, VW Bug Jam here, Florida Bug Jam, and they had the tent set up. They made a steel tent. Of course, they're excited about the toy drive. They were talking about just what an awesome venue, like you said, Mike. So we're really looking forward to it. It adds another show, if you will, get together, however you want to spin it, to the fold in Florida. And like I said time and time again, we're very lucky here because you talk to folks on the West Coast and they say, man, shows are drying up. Of course, Corey and team got something to say about that. However, in Florida, Mike, there's definitely plenty to go around.
No, you ain't lying there, brother. We are definitely keeping it alive here in Florida. That's for damn sure.
Lastly, from a digital standpoint, I did want to mention, I know Custom Life, they have recently put out a couple of new YouTube videos, and I know Grinder TV has as well. So again, you talk about our content being, pretty much free. You can also go on YouTube, Custom with a K, Custom Life. Got about 14,500 subscribers. You have Grinder TV, and of course you got OLP. Well, we just hit, Mike, I didn't tell you this, we just hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, and that is a milestone. However, YouTube has moved the goalposts a couple of times over the years, and in the past, it was like, okay, you got to get to 1,000 subscribers, and I think we can go live now on YouTube, which is great. We've been trying to get there, so we thank everyone that has hit subscribe. The next thing we have to do, Mike, is I have to continue to put out more videos because you have to have 4,000 minutes watched in a month of your content to be able to get into the opportunity to start making pennies. You know what I mean? So it's not an easy road for anyone that, is out there. I know Jeff from Mini Garage, he's been doing new videos. But to me, it's just kind of a milestone to get to. And I'll tell you what, another person that's been doing videos is Lonnie from Garage Gear. He just did one laying at the lake. Street Trucks even put that one on their website, Mike. So, Lonnie is out there at almost every show doing videos, and his videos are great. Good mix of music, nothing crazy over the top, and boom, very entertaining. So there's like 3 or 4 right there, Mike, that people can check out.
Oh, absolutely, brother. And you can't go wrong. ODB and the camcorder go hand in hand.
Yeah, I got the big one right on my neck right here, man, walking around, dude. Like 87, dog. You know what I mean? Just, Mike, you just got can you adjust the tracking a little bit here? Okay, yeah, that's better.
Oh, absolutely.
I can see it now. It was all scrambled up, So the scene update's brought to you by Garage Gear Clothing. The holidays are upon us. Free shipping in the U.S. Go to garagegearclothing.com. They have ladies. They have the guys taken care of. Of course, they've got the kids as well. Again, free shipping, which is kind of unprecedented in our scene that they're able to do that. They'll take care of you. Let them know OLP sent you. Put OLP into the notes. They've got Apache shirts, which are new. The 80s Garage Girl tees, stickers, decals, you name it, they got it. GarageGearClothing.com. Mike, we've talked so much recently about all the different shows, and we just kind of gave a quick overview of what to expect for next year. The only other shows I really wanted to kind of hit upon is Relax It on the Ranch. So March 5th, I mean, it's going to be there before you know it. Pre-registration's going down. Relax It on the Ranch. Instagram, click the link in the bio. You can select if you're going to get a room, get a tent, get a parking spot for the camper, all within their link in bio. Relax It on the Ranch. We'll be down there. DJ ODB, I'll be on the 1s and 2s this year, mixing up the music, so I'm thankful for that opportunity. Of course, Orange Beach Invasion, Mike always talks about where they want to retire. Orange Beach Invasion is the last weekend in March, Mike, so I have to keep catching myself here. It's the last weekend in March, and we're really looking forward to it. Mike, you can't go wrong with the venue, and the last I heard, all of the premium spots are pretty much gone.
Yes, they are completely sold out, and just stay tuned to that event page, because if something opens up, they'll definitely let you know.
Yep, and then, of course, I didn't give out the dates earlier, but Mini Nats will be the 23rd through the 25th of April in Maggie Valley, and then Sparks in the Park is actually going to be April 2nd through April 4th, so Niceville, Florida, Panhandle, amazing event. The Corvers, they continue to do the damn thing. NC, our NC brothers. So much more to come, Mike. We'll have to kind of see. I know you haven't announced anything with After Dark, so I know that'll be something that in the future you might still continue to do. But right now, all of your focus, keep me honest, is on Eastbound Get Down.
And you are exactly right, my friend.
And let's not forget Scraping the Coast. Every June, it's going to be at the end of June this year, my understanding. So we'll be talking about that. Again, that's half a year out. We're looking forward to Biloxi, but there's kind of an overview. And the key show updates brought to you by the West Coast Influence. Radar put out his own money to produce this documentary-style DVD/Blu-ray. Go to minitruckfilm.com. It's a great stocking stuffer for the holidays, minitruckfilm.com. Order one today. Let Radar know that OLP sent you. So, Mike, dude, the podcast updates, bro. I'm getting ready to cover a couple things, but, dude, we got to thank Joey at Get Decked. Every time you text him, he always comes through for us. Mike, and my understanding is more and more shows are loving the decks for their awards.
Yes, they are, and he is definitely a happy camper, and that's what we do, man. We just keep trying to push for our advertiser and for our sponsors, and he's definitely one of them, and we consider him a friend. We appreciate his support, and in return, we want to keep supporting him, and he has definitely not let us down, and he's always come through for us. So make sure you guys, if you need you want your truck on an award, if you want your face on a skate deck, whatever you want, the man Joey over at Get Deck can get it done for you. So make sure you guys check him out, hit him up, and he can get that taken care of for you.
Yeah, and word is there's people ordering ones with Hank from Hammered Weekend Wear. They're ordering skate decks with Hank on them. I don't understand that, but maybe they just want to get them autographed.
Hey, whatever it takes, just give him a call and get whatever you need done, and he can do it for you.
Yeah, dude. No new Apple Podcast reviews, but if you're on an iOS device, so like an iPad, many of you are on iPhone, or technically if you've got a Mac computer, you can go to the podcast app, that purple icon. Basically, what you want to do is tap on Library, select OLP, scroll down, and tap the 5 stars. If you want to go a step further, you can write a review. We'll read that on a future episode. But help us get to 300. We're at 253 now, almost all 5 stars. So thank you guys so much for that. And make sure you don't accidentally tap like 1. I know one person did that one time. Always tap 5 if you can. That really helps us out. Mike, next week is so I want to back up real quick. So last week we recorded early in the week. Didn't get a chance to say Happy Veterans Day. All right, Mike, a lot of veterans out there, a lot of folks in the scene, they're veterans or their family, husband, wife, mom, dad, that type of thing. We can't thank them enough, so I wanted to stop for a moment And Veterans Day is a special one for many of us because we think about the freedoms. A lot of people are barbecuing, and doing the damn thing. But there's a lot of people that put their lives on the line to go across enemy lines, to go into other countries, National Guard, all kinds of different folks. So no matter what part of the military you maybe served in or you're in now, all I can say is thank you very much, Mike. I mean, there's no other way to say it.
Oh, dude, hats off, and thank you for your sacrifice and your time served. It's definitely appreciated. That's for sure.
Yeah, and even our homie Vic, our brother, his daughter, she went into the military and she tried so hard and she had like an injury she didn't know about, and that caused her to have to, she couldn't continue, and there's people that they want to do it no matter what, and they try and they try and they try. So, even for folks like that have given trying to give everything they can, thanks to everyone. So, wanted to say that. Next week is Thanksgiving, so that's obviously time. Well, I think I'm not getting ahead of myself, right? Yeah. So next week, so I get it confused a little bit. Next week is the kind of 3-day work week for many, and that's going to roll us into Thanksgiving, which is 25th and 26th. So, spend the time with your family, do the things that you want to do, kick back if it's watching football, whatever those traditions are. I'm going to try to do it myself. Put my phone down a little bit to not be so connected. But also, Mike, we will put out a new episode next week, and I think if all goes well, we've got our guest we'll be recording with tonight, and then next week we'll try to tie in any Black Friday stuff that we hear about. So if you're a business out there and you're planning to have Black Friday deals like we are, email us, ourlifestylepodcast@gmail.com, and let us know if you want us to cover if you're going to have 10% off, 15%, whatever the deal is, free this, free that. So many companies are looking to kind of, get their revenue going again, right, with this holiday season. So if you've got something, email us, Mike. I know Black Friday is a big day for a lot of businesses.
Oh, it usually is, and usually they're out advertising it ahead of time. So let's see what we got so we can out there and help and support the rest of these companies out there.
Yeah, there's a few that come to mind that I'm looking forward to, so we'll kind of see how that goes. Now, as we kind of wind it down here, the Airhead Nation update. So one that I had saved, Mike, is from a good friend of ours, Alex Anderson, a.k.a. Alex Who. He was on one of our first episodes this year, I think it was, and it's one of our most downloaded and streamed episodes ever. He says, thank you to everyone who made the voyage to watch me and Misty tie the knot or who took the time to wish us well. It would not have been the same without you. Love every single one of you. So congrats to Alex Who. That was posted basically on Monday. And, again, as a brother, as someone that's well respected in the scene that came on, talked about Ryan Fringling House and traveling all over the world. Just a great, well-rounded guy. Congratulations. And Mike, we got to thank Hammered Weekend Wear. I know Hank, I tried to see if he was going to dial in there. I thought I heard him for a second, but Hammered Weekend Wear, it's HAMMERD, weekendwear.com. I got to remind you all that on December 1st, he's going to open enrollment, right, is how we're spinning it. And the open enrollment's going to be where you can get in and pay the one price, and you'll get every shirt for 2022 that they launch. So all those main shirts, when he does 2 at a time, you'll get those. You'll be able to select the colors. You'll also be able to select the size. You can pick a tank. I think you can even do hoodies now. So, Mike, it's kind of a unique opportunity for people. And I tell you, you might look at the price point and go, man, it's around the holidays. I don't want to spend that much. You end up saving money, and all of those shirts are fire, aren't they, Mike?
He comes with 2 heaters every single month.
Yeah, and it's hard, to come off the top ropes with the merch these days, right? Because you go to a show and there's so much good stuff out there. But him and Eric and Graphic Disorder, they keep cooking up funky-ass shit like every single day, like Snoop once said. You know what I mean?
Dude, every single month he's got 2 heaters that they bang every single year, every single month, and you have to go out and you have to buy it because you can't not have that new Hammered Weekend Wear shirt. And hey, what's even better than making sure you don't miss out is that you get the subscription. And once you get that subscription, you're golden, baby.
Yeah, you get them all here, and it's like, boom, they show up. You're like, man, what did I order? You know, your wife's like, damn, what'd you get? You're like, oh, yeah, the new heaters, man. Hammered Weekend Wear. And the next thing you know, you got the whole block ordering them. So that's how we do it. Mike, hopefully we'll try to link up with Ruben or Ron for a couple of minutes. If so, we'll play that audio next, and then we're going to roll into, after that, of course, our title guest, Jeremy Kaufman. Thanks so much to him from local Finesse, spending some time with us. Old school mini trucker, has been doing the damn thing. So thanks to him for coming on. And we've got some other jam-packed shows lined up for the last 4 or 5 weeks of the year, Mike. We're going to keep it stomped, brother.
Absolutely, brother. No breaks, baby. So, hey, with that being said, thanks for having me on this week, Jay, and great to talk to the Airhead Nation. And that being said, Airhead Nation, we...
Achie, and Mike got another tick mark in the binder. Peace. Hey, as I mentioned before we roll into our title guest, we got the big homie Sean Randall. How you doing, brother?
Good, man. How about you?
Good, man. It's that time of year, every November, one of my favorite months. Of course, Thanksgiving's coming up. But Slidell, Louisiana, dude, Bayou Showdown. How excited are you?
Man, we're ready. We're ready to get it going. Bayou Showdown 2021 is going to be huge. Last year we had a great turnout, and we actually a bigger turnout than what we expected, and we're expecting the same, if not more, this year. So I think it's going to be great. I hope everybody that's listening comes out and enjoys it.
I love the artwork and some of the images that you guys have been sharing for Bayou Showdown. I got to throw this in there. How crazy was it that Bill's dually got rear-ended, man?
Man, that is crazy, isn't it? Talk about bad luck. Bill's a great dude. We like to work with him as much as possible. Of course, he lives right there in Slidell, and he's been a huge help to us.
Oh, good.
In fact, he actually is the one who found the facility that we're doing Bayou at now. So he's been a huge help to us, and I hate that happened with his truck. Of course, when he gets done with it, redoing everything, it'll be even better. So, but it just sucks that he had to go through that. And he actually, I think it's on a little DL right now, but he actually picked up another ride last week. So he's going to have it out there at Bayou Showdown this Saturday and or the whole weekend, really. But so I don't know if how many people really knows about it, so I don't want to tell too much. But he got him another badass ride that he's bringing out. Dude,
he needs to leave some for the rest of us. I mean, between him and you, you're taking over the world, man.
Right. He's got a few of them. He's definitely getting him a nice stable over there full of badass rides for sure.
Yeah, he's definitely about it. One thing that I noticed with the Harbor Center, I've passed it on the interstate, coming home from like Lone Star and meeting up with you guys in the past. But it's kind of down there towards Lake Pontchartrain, right? And that area has been ravaged over the past, 15 years. And obviously going back in history even more with hurricanes and stuff. How big of this is like a great economic thing, too, for this area, I would think, with all the folks traveling in.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely. It helps out the economy a lot and helps out everyone around there. It's right in that area. It's not too bad. For the most part, there's really any damage there. A lot of their stuff, they did have some flooding and they did have some power outages in that area. But pretty much it's already, everything's up and going again. But yeah, it's definitely a huge economic impact for them, for us to come through there and do these shows and stuff like that for them. But like I say, it's not, thank goodness, nothing around there is really torn up. And then also, there's really with the mask mandates and all that's, it's not really going on around there. I've been over there the past 3 weeks in a row, and we've had zero issues getting in anywhere or anything. So that's a good thing too,
Yeah, that's good stuff. Things are starting to kind of get back to normal here too. And the other cool thing about it also is it's kind of a stone's throw, so to speak, from New Orleans, right? So if somebody's coming in town and, like, let's say they want to peel away, get dinner, or do something, or they've never been to New Orleans, they can basically scoot on down there, and it's not that far of a drive.
Yeah, it's like 23 to 25 minutes to downtown New Orleans from the showgrounds, so it's not far at all. So and there's of course there's a lot to do right there in Slidell as well. There's a lot of nice restaurants. In fact, Saturday night we're having an after party at a place called High Octane. It's a bar and grill deal. It's the guy who owns it. He's actually originally from Alabama. He moved out to California. Has been out there for like 20 years. He's big into bikes and like Harley Davidsons and stuff. And he came back and then built this. He didn't build it. The building was already there, but he opened up this place called High Octane. It's a really cool place. Got a live band going to be there Saturday night also. So we're looking forward to hanging out there and eating some dinner and having some drinks and listening to the band.
Yeah, that's kick-ass. You can go on Instagram and type in Bayou Showdown and look at the hashtag. Little under 1,000 photos have been hashtagged, and it reminded me of the awesome artwork. I know Fuel Market, you guys work closely with them. Now, keep me honest, the full-size Chevy on there, that one reminds me of the one, I think, isn't that the one that Ernie had, rest in peace, that he sold and it changed hands a couple times?
It is. Yep, it is. So a buddy of mine, Daniel Fairlett, bought the truck last year or maybe year before last, and he had gotten it, and it's here local in Mobile, Alabama now, but he had gotten it, and he loves the truck, of course, and I'd actually spoke to Ernie before Daniel was going to buy the truck. I'd reached out to Ernie and talked to him about it just to make sure, that it was good to go, because he wanted to be able to drive it and everything. And Ernie was, of course, honest like he always was, and told me straight up it was a good truck. And so Daniel sent a hauler up to the Carolinas where it was at, bought it from the guy there and brought it back down here, and he's had it ever since. And he's taken real good care of it. I know some of the guys from No Regrets had reached out to try to buy the truck back, but he don't want to turn it loose right now. But I think if he ever decides to sell it, it's going to go to one of them guys there, go back into that family.
Yeah, that's awesome. And, the truck, I have an '08, and I always loved those trucks, and I loved what Ernie did with it. But the cool thing about the artwork is obviously you got the older, kind of Tri-5 Chevy, and then you got the new school truck. What we've continued to see out of Bayou Showdown, Mike's been there several times, taking a lot of photos and stuff, and you'll see everything from a lowrider with El Chapo on the deck lid to minis and, of course, full-size trucks. Are you ever amazed at how quickly the show is growing to like one of the biggest, baddest shows in that area?
Yes. So I'm a big lowrider guy, so I've got a little bit of a lowrider following. And whenever Greg and I started to do this show, one thing he said, I wanted to focus on, doing some lowrider shirts and stuff. And he was like, nope, never happened. They're not going to come out, because lowriders don't really go to a truck show, So, I mean, they do here and there, but for the most part, lowriders don't really go to a truck show. They basically stick to mostly lowrider shows and car show stuff. And so anyways, like I said, I got a little following from them, and great guys, DSR out of Louisiana. They're a huge follower of us, and they support everything we do, and they come out. And we last year, I forget how many lowriders it actually was, but we had a bunch of them. And this year, I think we're going to have it even more. The down part to it is this year, the Las Vegas Super Show is the same weekend as our show. But most of all the ones, most of them, we still got them coming from San Antonio, Texas, and everything. They're coming all the way from there to Bayou. So we're still going to have a huge turnout of lowriders. And but last year was really, like I say, it was. I was in awe, because I didn't expect the turnout that we had of all the different variety of vehicles. I mean, like you said, from lowriders to lifted to mini trucks, So we've been really excited about the turnouts and how fast it's grown, because we wasn't expecting it to grow as fast as it has. When we first started, I forget what we had. It was like a couple of hundred vehicles the first year, 200 I think it was like 230, 240 something the first year. And then the second year, it was like right at 300 and something, or 400 or something like that. I think it was 4 something the second year or something. And then last year, I mean, it was 800, right at 800 entries, so it quadrupled in entries last year. So, and then this year, it's to be our 4th year. And as much feedback as I've gotten, I mean, the message, in fact, while I'm on the phone here with you right now, I've gotten, message after message, people asking questions. So it's been wild the past couple of weeks with messages and stuff. So I think it's going to be another huge turnout.
Yeah, it's awesome. And, there's so many good people that come out to the show, Bayou Showdown. And I love that you guys are continuing that tradition. I know, Lauren, she's very instrumental in working, right. You guys always work close together.
Yes.
Rest in peace to Greg. And of course, you and
Mm-hmm.
Greg had started the show a few years ago, and we're just excited how far it's really, you guys have been able to continue to grow it, and you got a lot of support from the community.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. We, and that was one thing, with Greg passing, that's one thing I wanted to do was keep, Lauren and Tammy involved as well. So, basically, me, my wife, and Lauren and Tammy, her mother, and we're gonna keep it going. And what I did this year, and I'm gonna do probably every year, I'm gonna do something, to tribute to Greg every year. But one thing that I've done this year, all the top 75 awards, Josh Welch with Welch's Chop Shop, I reached out to him and I told him, look, I want to paint all the top 75 awards yellow and white like Greg's 55, and I wanted to put a silhouette of the 55 on it, mm-hmm. but it wouldn't really fit and go in there. So we come up with just putting Bel Air, on it. So that's something we're going to do. And I didn't tell nobody about it. It was between Josh and I there for, a few months. And then whenever he got them done, of course, I shot the pictures over to Lauren and them, and then we, made the post and everything on social media about it. But I thought that was, something we needed to do for Greg. Of course, I mean, he was the legend and the godfather of the Gulf Coast on truck shows and car shows. So we got to keep that memory alive.
The Don, exactly. And I got to thank Southern Tradition and some of the other shows. I know DJ Mays has been involved, and I think the Spark Show. A lot of these shows have paid homage and paid tribute to Greg, and that's mm-hmm. one thing, that I was so thankful for is, all of our time is limited, as Steve Jobs once said in a commencement speech, and he mentioned how, when we think of our time's limited, we know we all have a certain amount of time here. But when Greg's time was up, unfortunately, so many people came together and said, hey, right. Greg helped me. And you don't even realize how much, you helped someone, like when Greg was like, hey, come on out and start serving food at my shows and do this and do that. And so many people
right.
were thankful for all the things that he did. So it's great that, that you were able to do that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, he definitely helped a lot of people, and, he got a lot of people started in business. He done a lot of behind the scenes that most people don't even have a clue. I mean, man, the stuff that he done that I've witnessed, it's just it's unbelievable. How good of a guy he was, and the people that he helped, and the amount of people that he helped, and so we want to carry that on and try to do our part as well, and like I say, just keep his memory alive. So.
Yeah, no doubt. Just before we wrap up, I know Mike and I talked about how excited we're getting for Orange Beach Invasion next year. I know that's part of the Custom Car Show production event. That's mm-hmm. the last weekend, I know, in March next year. But do you anticipate with the after hours, right? I know I think there was the storm earlier this year. There were some things there. Do you anticipate continuing that tradition, or what are your thoughts as you go into 2022?
Yeah, so what we're waiting on right now is the facility. I'm waiting on them to get back with me. They're in contract negotiations right now for that facility, and that's why we haven't posted anything. It's been kind of halted right now. We don't know what the future is of that facility with the city of Mobile. So as soon as we get an answer to where if we can lease it again, or who's going to take it over to where we can get with them to lease it, then yeah, we're gonna carry on with that, and then of course, lifting the coast, we're gonna talk about doing it again next year as well. So yeah, we're gonna we're going to try to keep going with them all and keep them going for sure.
Yeah, we love hearing it. Of course, that's Hank Aaron Stadium we're talking about. And I hadn't got a chance to go out to the show, but all the photos look cool, and we loved the vibe. It was very similar to After Dark here in Tampa, and we love that because, right, we loved a little bit of, it cools off a little bit when the sun goes down, you know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah. And that was our, whenever we started to do that show, I've always wanted to do a nighttime show, and we was talking about it, and a buddy of mine, David Lee and Greg Miller, they both done one at that same facility, years ago. It was like an import show. So I was talking about doing it, and of course, Greg, just like with Bayou, he's like, "Well, man, let's do it. I'll go in with you," So we got together and made it happen. And unfortunately, the first year we got hit by a hurricane. We still had the show, but we got hit by a hurricane. Still had a pretty decent turnout. A little over 130, I think it was, showed up this past year. We moved the date into May to get out of July because we was trying to get out of the rainy season part. And we got pounded again this past year with another storm, and it rained, but we still had a good turnout, still had a good time. So, the people come support still no matter what. So we made it happen.
Yeah, that's right, man. And the community and the scene is big. They make it happen, right? I mean, we know that with all the different shows and stuff, but, we're excited about Bayou Showdown again this weekend. Check the hashtag. If you're there, hashtag Bayou Showdown all together. Mike will be sharing photos as well. And Sean, we appreciate your friendship, and we can't wait to see you soon. And we know next year's going to be off the hook. So whatever you're doing, we got your back, and thanks for always having ours.
Yes, sir. We appreciate y'all, and we'll continue to support y'all as well, so for sure.
Appreciate that. So everyone stay tuned. We're going to roll in now to Jeremy Kaufman from Local Finesse. Thanks, Sean.
All right, brother. Appreciate y'all.
Yo, as I mentioned, super excited. We got Jeremy Kaufman. How you doing, our friend?
Doing pretty good.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much for taking the time. And, what was cool is we recently heard from Tall Guy, and we talked about Local Finesse and his book, Roads to Ruin. And I just thought it would be awesome to learn a little bit more history about someone that's been in the club a long time. And, I figured you could maybe start off and just tell us a little bit about yourself, Jeremy.
I don't know. I'm not rich. Growing up and stuff, I just learned how to build stuff myself and took metal shop in high school all 4 years and just did things myself. I don't know how far you want to take it. As far as I got 3 kids now, I'm married.
Oh, cool. Yeah, and you grew up, my understanding was you grew up in California. Like, what city was that?
Oh, dude, I was born in the LBC next to Snoop Doggy Dogg.
Hell yeah, man. On top of the VIP record store.
No Long Beach tattoo on me, though. Not that.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, I was born in Long Beach. Born and raised here.
Yeah, that's cool.
So.
And, a lot of the previous guests that we've had on, they've talked about, like, high school shop class and stuff like that. Is that where you kind of felt like you started to get the itch for, like, your first vehicle? Like, how did all that come about as far as you getting involved with automotive stuff?
Well, I guess 87, I was in 7th grade, and I saw a Toyota, like an 85 Toyota with some, like, 15 by 10 reverse cookie cutter KMCs, and I was like, wow. I don't know what it is, but I like that look. Yeah. I like the mini truck. That's so cool. And that was 87. And then through high school, I started collecting all the mini trucking magazines, which probably in 99, I took 300 pounds of my magazines and threw them away, not knowing what they'd be like today.
Right.
Well, yeah, every other month when mini trucking came out, I'd buy the magazines and all this stuff. But no, my dad was actually into Harleys and cars, and I just happened to take metal shop and got really good at welding. And then it was like, okay, when I get older and get a car, I want to get a mini truck. And then I graduated in 92, and it might have been 92, 93 when Ballistic got finished, that Toyota. Mm-hmm. And I saw him and that red Nissan hardbody that they kind of showed together.
Yep.
They're at a local cruise night. And I was like, holy cow, man. Like, this is crazy. Like, look how low this thing is. I've never seen a mini truck body dropped.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, I wish I can do this. I wish I could do this kind of stuff. I look back now, of course, it's a classic mini truck, but I'm like, that's such basic work that got done to it. But for the time, it was state of the art back then.
Yep. Like
And
revolutionary.
now it's like, oh yeah, I've done stock floor body drops, all kinds of. I just do all kinds of stuff, and I'm like thinking back to those younger days, like, wow, I've come so far from then.
Yeah,
But
it is cool how you learn over time, you know?
yeah, what started it was probably '94. My buddy Tony, he had a Mazda, and he was just like, hey man, our buddy Rodney's gonna come over. He's gonna body drop my truck. I'm like, okay, cool. You know, I never done that before. I've done a couple four links and a couple air shock jobs, you know, air shocks front and back. And he never showed up. And we had the interior gutted and stuff. We're like, I'm looking at it like, dude, I could do this. Cut the floor away from the side. Yeah, I could do this. I think I could do it. And yeah, cut his truck up, caught it on fire a few times, you know, all that undercoating stuff.
Yep.
And I did my first body drop. I'm like, sweet. Then another friend needed a body drop. So I'm like, you know what? I'll body drop your truck. You buy me a Sawzall.
Oh, there you go. You got smart. You're like, hey,
Yeah.
hook it up.
Yeah, he's getting hooked up. I'm getting hooked up because I never felt it was right to learn how to do something on someone's car.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen a lot of shops. I've worked at shops that have hired people and they would bag someone's car and they didn't know what they were doing. So I always tell people like, hey man, I'm not really charging you anything because I'm kind of learning this. I'm picking it up.
Mm-hmm.
Just buy me a Sawzall, man. I'll do it. Okay, cool. And then I finally did my own truck on my friend's side yard. So that was cool. And then I think I did 5 body drops basically free until I got to work for MIC.
Oh, really?
And
So
then
you worked there at Master Image Customs?
Yeah, actually, Sean Mahaney's the one that got me the job at MIC.
Damn, that's kick-ass.
Yeah. He was having some back issues and medical issues, and he had to leave. And he knew of me from previous years because this is going to like 2001 right now.
Okay.
I met Sean in in probably 94. I met Sean at CNC Hydraulics.
Okay.
And at the time, I was always big into hydraulics.
Okay.
Airbags are cool, but hydraulics, I love the sound. I love the looks. I love what you can do with a hydraulic system, the looks of it and everything. You know, so I did a rear setup on my truck where I had the airbag underneath the hydraulic cylinder.
Mm-hmm.
And when I went to CNC Hydraulics, Sean Mahaney was like, oh, I've heard of this truck. And right then I was like, oh my gosh, really?
Like, you're like, good or bad?
Yeah, somebody heard of me? Like, wow. You know, at the time I was maybe 20.
Uh-huh.
And so that's when I started talking to Sean, and we were friends for so long after that. And so then back now to 2001 with MIC, he hit me up at CalJam. He goes, hey man, how would you like to work at MIC? I'm like, dude, back in 2001, that was like the place to go.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, all right, yeah, I'll check it out. So I went down to MIC and talked to the owner, Rob. And I'm like, hey, Sean's been talking about, you know, working down at MIC or working here. And he goes, yeah, I had Sean go look for some people. So I had 2 people in mind. And Rob left it up to Art Gomez,
Mm-hmm.
who started Go Easy. And Art said, you know what? I know this other guy. I don't like his work, but I don't know this guy, which was me.
Mm-hmm.
We'll hire this guy. And that's when I got hired.
Oh, dope.
And I was there for 2 years until he sold the company.
Yeah,
then,
we recently connected with Rob, and he had mentioned how he had sold the company. But, I mean, dude, I think back to, like, the Orange S10, right? And then after that, you know, you're talking about the time that you were there, man, a lot of iconic stuff came through there.
Yeah, of course. Unfortunately, like, I seen it get built. I stopped by a few times before I worked there, but Crew Cut, you know, it was built there. And
yep.
I unfortunately didn't work there at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I got to see it while it was being built here and there. And, you know, it was really cool to see the stuff that came and left out of that place.
Oh, yeah.
And then, of course, I really believe the times really started changing a lot as far as, like, what people were doing to their cars. And I don't know, like, this Rob just kind of, he had a good offer and just sold. But, you know, he didn't want to kind of get into full frame, like custom frames, all that plasma tables, all that newer stuff. He just wasn't getting into that.
Yeah, because he had a good model, a business model, on how he was doing things. I mean, we'd love to, you know, we're going to link up with him at some point. But when he started texted me some photos of all the stuff, and I forgot like the Impalas and a lot of that stuff we saw on the DVD that he had released, where it was like a cruise down like at the end of a cul-de-sac type thing. And
yeah, I was in that one. My orange Mazda's in there.
Oh yeah. I remember that.
Actually, I'm in the video. I'm bending tube while they recorded me while I was bending some tube.
Yeah, dude, those are the times. And the cool thing was, so much stuff came through there, but it was like, a lot of high end stuff. But to your point, it really wasn't, like by today's standards. Now these guys are doing plasma tables and all that. Not to say it wasn't at the same level. It's just, God, man, things changed quick.
Yeah. Well, the last big conversation I had with Sean, we were talking through Instant Messenger, and he was telling me how he was building another truck. And I'm like, dude, I'm still just doing this out of my garage now, like I was doing it 20 years ago. I can't compete with these guys that are building everything on like this, water jet or laser table, TIG welding everything. And I do clean work, but these guys are doing like aircraft stuff.
Right.
And I totally appreciate it. It's cool. But, I'm still more of like your normal, I'm only 21. Let me just get this shit done, but do it right.
Right.
I don't have a lot of my friends and people I talk to. We don't, they don't have 30,000 for a bag of truck.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, I think it's how things have evolved. But to your point, like your homies can come through and you could lay something out nice and clean, and you're going to be cruising with no issues.
Yeah, I my friends have told me in the past, like in the 90s, oh man, you should open up a shop. And I'm like, you know what? You can know how to do the work, but you also know you have to know the business end of it, and that's not me. I never did that. I just didn't want to. I've seen too many shops stress out, the owners stressing, and not make it, and I just don't want to be that. Rob was definitely a good business guy, and he sold at the right time, and can't hate him for that.
Exactly. Yeah, no doubt. Now, during that time, I'd imagine, like you think back to the 80s, a lot of times with guests, we'll talk about BMX, and you think of, Town and Country Surf Designs and skateboarding.
Dude, rock those shirts, man.
Yeah, man. Dude, tell me that wasn't the epic era, man.
Oh, dude, it's all about Pal Peralta. I was actually living right now I live in Brea.
Okay.
But I was living in Lakewood, and Lakewood's it's really flat. And I skated with my cousin and my friends everywhere. I had the Bones Brigade jacket.
Yep.
I dyed my hair, my bangs blonde, full on like Tony Hawk style.
Yep.
It was great, man. Watching VHS tapes of Bones Brigade, and
yep.
I was able to ride my bike to the beach, follow the riverbed down to the beach. Oh, it was really cool back then.
Yeah, there's so much culture stuff that's come out of that area in California. And I always thought back to, you talk about throwing out magazines. Over the years, I've collected a lot of stuff, but I remember kind of got to a certain age where I was like, all right, time to let these magazines go. And now there's a lot of people that collect the BMX Plus and all the different magazines. And it's like, man, what an epic era. Like, I think back to the colors, the pads, all the stuff that we ripped off our bike. Now that stuff's worth so much money. You know what I mean?
I know. It's my son got a GT, and I'm like, what the hell? This is like cheap. Like, it's not even the same.
Right.
The wheel bearing went out in the hub. It was within a year, so it was under warranty, and they didn't have a new wheel bearing, or they didn't have a new hub. They just gave him a whole new bike.
Dang it.
They said, give us the old bike, we'll give you a new one.
Yeah, it's like one of those Amazon things.
What?
We'll just send you another one. You're like, what?
Dude, I was all about the GT Mach 1 back in 86. Like chrome and everything, chrome and black. And it was like, they got nothing like that now.
Yeah, it was crazy because back in those days, I was younger than my neighbors, and, his buddy would come by, and, it was be like before we had cars, and I would look at the bikes and be like, dude, that was like the high-end bike. They would have bikes that were $600-700 back then. And I was thinking to myself, like, I'm rolling this hand-me-down. But, I mean, that's the way it was back then. And it's crazy today that a lot of us are getting to, like, middle-aged, and we're starting to collect shit. Yeah, but it's cool how, we're starting to collect stuff and all that. Although, it has gotten a little crazy, I'm hopeful that the styles will continue to come back. But, hopefully the prices will kind of level off over time, but we'll have to see.
Yeah.
Well, I want to talk to you a little bit about some of the rides that you've owned, right? So you've been in the scene, God, man, since, talking about the late 80s. What are some of the vehicles, like maybe over the course of time, Jeremy, that you've had?
You know what? My main truck was my 91 Mazda B2600 or B2600i that I extended, put a long bed on it, and had Sprint back when Sprint by competition was still in business.
Oh yeah.
Had a custom made shell for it for the long bed, and I had 615s in the bed with a full chrome undercarriage, like not undercarriage, I would say motor compartment. Everything I could unbolt, I painted or chromed. Then I had hydraulic torsion bars on the front setup with a 4-link on the rear with just coilovers on the cylinders with shocks. So it rode nice and smooth, but I was able to go up and down with juice.
Yeah, that's sick, dude.
I had that for a while until my trusty Toyota axle I put on it broke. So my axle broke, and I spun around and wiped the truck out.
Damn.
Then I broke the shell, and this is back in 2004, and I threw the shell away basically. I had the Blazer style side windows. I threw those away, and now I built another Mazda. It's orange. It's only primered orange, but it's a long bed with 4x4 sheet metal. And I'm building that, and I'm like, dude, I need a shell.
Right.
I can't even find windows no more.
Yeah, now you're seeing how hard they are to find.
Yeah. So after that job, actually before I wrecked my truck, I came across a '62 Cadillac that I purchased. Well, actually, oh man, I had a '64 Impala. I traded it for the Cadillac, and then I had the Cadillac. I bagged the Cadillac. Then when I ended up selling the Mazda, I was starting to rebuild it. And a friend of mine said, well, what do you want for it? I'm like, dude, there's a lot of work that needs to be left. Like, I don't know, $7,000. He goes, okay. But it was in bad shape. Yeah, it was in bad shape. So I was like, okay, I'm over it. $7,000. Then I ended up buying the Pro Hopper kit when Pro Hopper is still around for the Cadillac. Well, I never installed the hydraulics in the Cadillac. It still was bagged. Then some time passed on, and then I bought a 4Runner. And I always wanted to build a Toyota 4Runner.
Okay, like an old school one?
So, oh, yeah, a 93.
I knew it.
Yeah. So I picked it up for $750. It had a blown motor. And it was 4-wheel drive. But 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, it's still the same suspension.
Exactly.
And I found another guy that was parting out a V6 Toyota 2-wheel drive pickup truck. I'm like, sweet. I got there's the front end I need, the front suspension, the rear axle, and the motor and trans. So I did all that. I built a frame for it, stock floor body drop on the ground, and realized Toyotas aren't a big truck. Like I'm 6'6", and my head would stick out the sunroof if I stood up. Like I'm sitting in the chair, but if my back was straight, my head is out the window.
Right. Yeah, you're the real tall guy.
Yeah, and then that's what the stock floor body drop. So I was like, I'm not really a big Toyota guy. I always love 4Runners, so I built it. Okay. A buddy of mine said, dude, I'll give you $8,000 for it. Okay. I only had $2,000 invested on top of my labor, so I sold to him. And then I had a 91 Civic hatchback that. Do you remember Monster Garage?
Oh yeah.
Remember the black Zamboni?
Yes.
That episode, Art and I were in that episode, and I had a 91 hatchback, Honda hatchback, Civic hatchback that was on juice, and it was in that episode.
That's sick,
yeah.
Dude.
I had that for a short time. Everything I get, I put juice on. A little bit after that, I bought a 92 Honda Accord wagon. I always wanted one of those juiced.
Yep, those are sick.
And I bought that because I needed a car to go, because I got a job at West Coast Customs for 2 weeks. So I needed another car. And I bought the wagon, and then I juiced that eventually. After I juiced it for a while, I'm like, okay, I fulfilled this part of my want. So
yeah,
now,
you kind of had a little bit of everything, right? Because many truckers, we love Mazdas, right? So you had that, you had the big body, Cadillac, you had a 4Runner SUV and stuff like that. So to me, like, you had a pretty good mix. Like, looking back on it, what was your favorite vehicle? Was it the 91 Mazda?
Well, actually, I got one more that I still own today that I got from my dad, which is a 72 Chevy Blazer.
Oh, snap, dude.
Yeah, he bought it in '74. There's pictures of me as a kid in it. I took my driving test in it. I drove it in high school. He was trying to restore it, but didn't have time. That's a whole other story.
Mm-hmm.
He ended up giving it to me. I converted it to two-wheel drive, added torsion bars to it, did hydraulics on torsion bars.
Oh, shit.
I ended up having it painted. I painted it a 2011 Camaro Inferno Orange. So that's the one I still have, and I'm just recently putting a 5.3 in it. So that's my favorite one right now. But what happened was, before I bought the Mazda I have now, I told my wife, I'm a mini trucker without a mini truck. I got the Blazer and I got the Cadillac still. And that's when I picked up the Mazda to build it again. So, but my all-time favorite was probably going to be my first Mazda with the whole chrome engine, the 615s in the bed, the walkthrough, hydraulics, all that stuff. That was back when no kids, no marriage. I can just put all my money in my truck, living at home.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's crazy to think about the Blazers because when I was at C10 Intervention recently, man, there's so many of them out there. I mean, they're badass, and they're getting harder to find, of course. I always remember in Gleaming the Cube, I think they had a 75 Blazer, top off, and just cruising around in SoCal, and I always thought to myself, man, that's like the ultimate cruiser, man.
Oh, when you take the top off, the full removable top, it's so fun.
Oh, yeah.
At nighttime when the sun's not baking on you, it's fun.
Exactly. No, that's sick stuff. Yeah, and would you have ever thought, Jeremy, like, I remember when I first got involved in the scene and seeing some of the trucks, like kind of what you described, right? 91, badass stereo in the bed and all that stuff. But, like, dude, it's crazy. It's come almost full force, right? Like 30 years later, you think about 91 to 2021, 30 years. That's a lot of those styles are coming back because people, I think, want to relive their youth a little bit.
So how about this? When I had my Mazda, it was all done up except I didn't have wheels for it yet.
Uh-huh.
I was still rocking the Pathfinders.
Yeah.
And I had John Gilbert from Tailgate Magazine come up to me and say, "Hey, you get some wheels for the truck, I'll shoot it."
Boom.
I never got wheels for it, and then the tailgate went away.
Yeah.
Well,
we love tailgate too.
Oh yeah, the Mazda that I picked up a couple years ago came with Pathfinders. I'm like, "Dog, this is a bonus." So I put smaller wheels on it. I extended it for a long bed. I'm rocking it with the Pathfinders, and I don't care. I got my Blazer with wheels. I got my Cadillac with wheels. My mini truck is my budget build, and I get a lot of compliments because the style is like kind of coming around again, like you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
I even got 4 15-inch L7s I want to put in it, but I don't want to take up the extra cab room, and I still got little kids, or one little kid. The other ones are getting bigger.
Mm-hmm.
But I got two big Orion amps and 4 L7s, and I'm like, dude, I still enjoy the stuff.
Yeah, it brings you back. I mean, even when you say Orion, I immediately flash back to walking into some stereo shops, and one of the local kids, he had all Orion stuff, and it just brings you back to that era, Clarion, all those old school brands. Of course, Alpine, but dude, I mean, to me, the times were epic, and that's one reason we love doing this podcast, because we can kind of jump back in time and talk about those memories and things like that. Do you remember, like, what was maybe one of your favorite truck runs that you went to back in those days?
By my hands down, it's going to be the river runs. Spring Splash, West Coast Nationals was at the river a few times. Anything with the river run, especially in the late 90s, early 2000s, it was just hardcore. It was crazy. Runs are supposed to be Friday, Saturday, go home Sunday. These were like, you want to get there Wednesday.
Right.
It's crazy. The line, you get there Wednesday, Thursday, you get all hammered, walk the line as people are waiting 6-7 hours to get in the run. And those are some fun times.
Yeah, I got to dig it up. One of my favorite photos from one of the river runs back in the day was Brian McCormick. I think it was the late 80s. He had shot this photo, and it's like all these kids hanging out down by the river, and there's a guy that like jumps his bike off a ramp that's right by the water, right? He's jumping in the lake, or the river, I should say, and they got like a string attached to the bike, and you just see how rowdy everyone is. It kind of was like, it seemed like Woodstock for that weekend, for the kids. It was like a way to get away and party and hang out, and it just seemed like it was epic times. And you're almost like, I almost wish more people had cameras back then, but at the same time, kids were living in the moment in that era,
Yeah, if I could choose, to live these days with all these, phones and cameras and social media, or go back to the late 90s. I'd probably go back to the late 90s.
Yep. I don't disagree.
With the magazines, you can sit there and flip the pages instead of just. I'm not a big fan of online magazines.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see paper in my hand.
Yep.
I want to turn the pages and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, definitely. One of our favorite covers ever was when Courtney shot the group photo at Easter Spring Splash '94, and
that was a cool picture.
Yeah, we always talk about that river run, and we've tagged a bunch of the different people, like even Chris Cudo from Down the Earth, like he was chilling there that weekend. He got involved in the scene kind of like when you did, late '80s, and man, you think back to those times, man, and it's epic, and I'm always thankful that Mini Truckin was there, right, and Truckin as well. To really document those runs and stuff, because without that, a lot of the history would kind of be gone,
Right.
Now, what's one of your favorite memories at a river, or truck run? I mean, is there one thing that stands out? We'll talk a little bit about Tall Guy in the book in a minute, but there's got to be some funny story, maybe with one of the homies or something that went down back in the day.
Oh, one that really pops into my mind right now would be, I was at Jerry and I and another member, her name, I probably shouldn't mention in case she happens to listen, but she was teaching us about the female genital area in the hood and how hers is pierced, and she hung a glow stick off it. We're like, what the hell?
Back in the day,
that one pops out a lot.
Oh yeah, back in the day.
Of course, yeah. And then there's just a lot of just cruising. The river runs where the whole street is lined with crushed cans, like beer cans, and then you walk up the stage and it was like 150 people at the stage and just drinking and have a good time with the friends.
Yeah, and sometimes it was like in the middle of nowhere. Like I always remember hearing Parker, Arizona. And, some people said, it's kind of like not the nicest, maybe park, but they all had that feel of kind of like in the desert, right? Not a lot of grass and stuff and just hanging out with tents.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you wake up after staying up till 3 or 4 partying, you get woken up at like 5:36 in the morning from the heat of the sun on your tent and boats going up and down the river because the water's like glass.
Right. Yep. Yeah, and jet skis and all kinds of craziness going on. Let's talk a little bit about local finesse, because when we had Tall Guy on recently, I really had a great time talking to him about the book, Local Finesse, Roads to Ruin. And I kind of wanted to dive just a little bit into the history of the club. Now, I understand like you weren't in since the beginning, but can you tell us a little bit about what you understand on how it got started and maybe who started it?
Yeah. Like I got in, I met the club at Bonton 93. Back in high school, I was like, okay, you know what? I love mini trucking. I love the club stuff, like from what I've seen. And the 2 clubs that I saw around my area was Local Finesse or Bonsai. So those are going to be the one of those clubs I'm going to join or try to join.
Oh, yeah.
So a buddy of mine, I was like, hey, there's a show in Bakersfield. You want to go? We're going to stay the night. I'm not sure where I'm going to stay, but we're going to go up there.
Mm-hmm.
So we drive up there. I pull into the parking lot or pull into the run. And at that time, I think I was 19.
Mm-hmm.
Got my mini truck, stock wheels, stock rims, or stock tires, big bubble tires with a notch in the bed.
Oh, yeah.
And just air shocks in the back, nothing in the front yet. And I asked the guy, he tells me $35. Well, nowadays you're like, wow, that's cheap. But
right.
$35 to get into Bonton. I was like, all right, cool. Kind of pricey for a one-day show, but okay.
Mm-hmm.
I said, where do I park? He goes, just park wherever you want. Just don't park in anyone's spot. And like I said, I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what a run was. I thought it was just a day show.
Yeah, because it was one of your first shows, if not your first one.
Yeah. Never even met anybody. I got my truck. I only had it for maybe a month or 2.
Mm-hmm.
In the meantime, all I've been doing is just cruising down to the beach and stuff. And that's about it. This is my actual first official mini truck show. And I park, and my buddy and I are walking around. I'm like, oh, wait, hang on. There's Local Finesse right here. Like, I've seen these guys. I'm going to start talking to them or, meet them.
Mm-hmm.
So I went up and met them. At the time, Humpty was president, and a couple other guys were in there, and started talking to them. And they're like, yeah, this is a truck run. Why don't you where'd you park? Oh, I'm like parked way over on the other side. "Oh, bring your truck, bring it over to us. You can camp with us."
Yep.
I was like, "Camp with you guys? What are you talking about?" They're like, "Dude, this is a truck run." Oh shoot, I didn't know that. So that's how I met the club back in '93. And then at that time, we had about 90 members and 6 chapters in SoCal only.
Really?
That's how, I mean, mini trucking was super big back in the early 90s.
Yeah, and for those listeners, basically what you had kind of mentioned to me prior is, probably 87, 88 is when that club, as far as you understand, when it started.
Yes. Like I said, I've been told 87. Someone said 88. I know the founder, Alan. He's still around and doing shows here and there with his kids. But he told me the exact date. But I think I was drinking on a run, and I just don't remember it.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was like 87, 88, right around there.
Yeah, we'd have to get tall guys' memory to remember that one.
Yeah, I mean, I know it'd be really cool to actually sit down with a bunch of people in one group, have our own little view.
Hell yeah. So, hanging out with the members back in those days, right? I mean, circa like 91, you have RA starts, STNC 92. What was the petitioning process back in those days? Did you kind of just hang out, for about a year or less, and then boom, they passed you in?
Back in those days, it was super easy.
Nice.
You can get in like a weekend.
Nice. Just drink some beer.
Because it was kind of like you have to show up. I think it was, actually not a weekend, but you have to go to 3 meetings and like 3 events or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then back then there was a show every other weekend. There was a show. So, you can go to your first meeting on Sunday, go to a show the following Saturday. Maybe there's a show on Sunday. Go to your second meeting, and the next week, your third meeting, you get voted in.
Boom. Yeah,
but
simpler times.
Yeah. The bylaws themselves, to get in the club, you just had to have a clean car and I think custom wheels. It has to be lifted or lowered. So things have changed a little bit through, different members we've had. We've had too many people join and then get out like a month later. All of a sudden, they don't come around.
They're just not about that life.
Yeah, we got to make this a little tougher. If they're going to petition for about a year, I think now we're up to like 3 or 4 months or so. And I don't exactly know right now the details. We're a little slow right now these days.
Yeah.
Everyone has families and kids, and there's not a lot of shows going. So mini trucking is not what it used to be a while ago, years ago. But
we've talked to Brian from Grinder TV recently, and he was the one that actually referred me to hit you up. And when we talked to him, he had a take on when we said, hey, where do you see mini trucking in, 10 or 20 years? And obviously, it's his opinion, but a lot of the guys in California and Arizona, a lot of the runs have went away. So although like on the East Coast and Florida right now, like we've got more shows and more events than we've ever had, right? It's exploding. But it is a different dynamic, and I want the listeners to kind of know that, these guys grew up going to shows like every weekend, every other weekend, different river runs, party, and doing all this. And that whole thing is like shifted, right? Because it's not that way these days.
Right. Right now, I think we have the Southern California Mini Truck Council run around September, October. And I think that's about the only run. Summer Madness, I think, stopped about a year or two ago. But back in the late 90s, I think there was a run almost every month. There was in the summer, Spring Splash, Rezo, Bonton, I think Summer Madness. I don't know if I mentioned that. I mean, there was at least 6 or 7 runs back then. Now we got 1.
Yeah, and one of the shows I always wish I went to, I mean, there's several of them, but like we recently lost Al Martinez, I believe his name was, and he was behind Cal Truck Jam, right? And then there was the Spring, and then there was the the 2 different ones.
Truck Jam, yeah.
Yeah, and to me, like you look at the coverage was amazing, and that makes me think of this question. So like when you were reading the magazine, you'd see all these different trucks, you'd see these people and the parties and stuff. When you started going to shows, were you kind of like in awe going, man, like I live here in California, and I'm reading the magazine, like I could get in the magazine because this is where everything's going down?
I don't think I read it like that. It was more like when I got my mini truck, I joined local Finesse. I started going to shows, and that's when I'm like, I remember that show. And I remember those cars. Oh, there's the front of my truck. I can see the bumper of my truck right there.
Yep.
I was kind of doing that kind of stuff when I was younger.
Yep. That's cool shit.
But like I said, I kind of blew it as far as my rims. I could have financed some, and then I could have at least had some kind of feature in tailgate. And now I'm like, you know what? It doesn't bother me. I'm not really trying to get that anymore. I'm older, and I'm just having fun doing my thing without trying to be like covered anyway. But I could have had something at one time.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I've had my share. Working at MIC, I've done a few tech articles where I'm like, hey, look there's my hands. I've done some things with Art at Go Easy. I helped him start Go Easy, and we've done a few tech articles and like shop coverage and stuff. I was in a Tailgate magazine where they did a shop tour, and I was in it for that. I've been in a few times here and there. I've had my fun. I just kind of wish I had a truck that was actually featured, but it is what it is.
Oh, yeah. Do you, like, when you got a chance, I don't know if you ever read the book, Tall Guy's book, but I know we recently had him on, and we talked a lot about just, the epic times and whatnot. Do you remember hanging out with him back in those days or participating in any, like, the sit-down dinners he did?
Oh, like Christmas parties and stuff?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I went to all of them because he was in the club, and what's funny is Tall Guy got in the club because his brother lived around the corner from me.
Oh, wow.
So I was in my truck, my Mazda, getting ready to go somewhere, and he comes rolling around the corner in his Toyota with ground effects. And, of course, he eventually got rid of the ground effects. But, he came around the corner to ask me about the club and stuff, and I told him where we meet and this and that, and then he joined the club.
Yeah, it's sick, dude, if you think back to how a small world it is. Now, when I recorded with him, he did mention Brian Frost from SoCal Customs. I got a chance to finally meet Brian at SEMA last week, and he had mentioned to me and it reminded me that he basically donated the truck, gave the truck to him, that Tall Guy and his son are building now. I mean, that's crazy to me.
Okay, yeah, that's Toyota. I forgot the story. He may have told me because he's had it for a little bit now.
Yep.
But that Toyota, he hit me up Saturday about helping him out as far as for Lincoln, bagging his kid's Toyota.
Yeah.
I'm like, of course, dude. We can't have kids at school like looking at your kid's truck laughing like this ain't that good of a truck. Of course I'll help you out, man.
Hell yeah. You're like, dude, let's throw some hydros on it. No, but
he's more of a bad guy. We're saving the juice for my son's car.
Yeah.
Which he just turned 16, so yeah, he's at that age now. So
hell yeah. Do you, like, so when you were going to the river runs back in the day, right? So a lot of times, we've heard awesome stories about, seeing Courtney and Lance and, Shartsis and all these guys. Did you get a chance, like, when you think back, to the Pat Nichols and seeing Ballistic, and you mentioned, I think, Sal Marchese's Nissan and stuff, like all these different trucks, do you have fond memories of, like, going to the events and just hanging out and seeing all the kinfolk?
Yeah, I mean, not too much. I wasn't a big talker. Like, I would talk to people.
Uh-huh.
But I've had a few conversations in the late '90s with Tim Brindays.
Yep.
I can never say his name.
Yep.
But talking with him at shows, and I've talked with him about trucks, about different, because I'm a fabricator, he was a fabricator. I'm like, we just had different ideas, and I like to hear his ideas and that kind of stuff. And I've had a lot of conversations with Sean, back in the '90s about different ways to do things. And I honestly, as long as I've known Courtney, I've never had the time, or I just never sat down and actually had a good conversation with him. As long as I've known of him and seen him around, and he's shot my friends' trucks and stuff, me personally, have never sat down and like talked to them.
Yep. Yeah, and I know, like, I wasn't really as outgoing back in those days. I went to the Sever 10th anniversary when we were at Rockahula Water Park. And, I remember seeing Courtney there and just different guys. And I kind of was more like, reserved, right? I didn't go out and, talk to a lot of people. It was, people in the club and stuff. But, as time went on, I kind of changed a little bit and started the podcast. But, yeah, I think back to those times and, pre-smartphones, obviously, magazines were big. And I just, I'm thankful that, there were so many people, especially in California, that built badass trucks. And of course that transcended across, everywhere. But I think back, to those days and go, wow, dude, definitely epic times,
You know what though? What's really cool too is growing up around here and working at MIC and at Art Shop Go Easy. Now, Art was a worker at Go Easy, MIC.
Mm-hmm.
So when Rob sold MIC, Art broke off and did his own thing. Got some equipment from Rob when he sold the business. But working at MIC, Art and myself got to know a lot of the magazine people because they're out here. So with tech articles, they're all done out here. So I got to talk to a lot of people like Lance Martz.
Yep.
I talked to him a lot about things. There's a couple guys from Lowrider I've talked to. I forgot his name. He just I think Dick or something. He just passed away a little bit ago. He was from Lowrider and he did a lot of tech articles. But I was thinking to myself a while ago, like, man, it was so cool to work out here because all the magazines are out here.
Yep, and that's what some of the guys like when IF Customs, late 90s, early 2000s, when they were really hitting, that's what Kerry had mentioned, how living there, they kind of had some of the magazines, of course, Street Trucks had ramped up by then, but, they kind of had some of that stuff in their back pocket, right? They could do tech articles. We've heard that from other people too, which was fantastic. When you think back to those days, I mean, you mentioned, Ballistic and the red Nissan and stuff. Was there anyone that you particularly like looked up to, or like you'd see the truck at a show and you're like, damn, I want to go see that?
Probably Craig Elder's trucks.
I know, dude. He built some of the craziest shit, didn't he?
Yeah, it was almost
he had
like
people build it. Yep.
Yeah, what's he going to come to the show with this time? Like, it was amazing on the stuff that he would come to shows with.
Yeah, I shared a couple of years ago, it probably was, a photo from Street Source where he had, like the lifted, might have been F-350 or something, and then he had the trailer with the van on the back, and it was like the two-car trailer, and it's just crazy, the views. I mean, 20 years later, people were just like still blown away. Now, granted, people have built crazy stuff, but like when you take a lifted truck and then you put a body dropped Astrovan on there and something else like, Wendy's,
it was
Tahoe and all that.
It was it was an orange Excursion.
Yes.
Pulling an orange trailer with the Astrovan and the Tahoe.
Yeah, there you go, dude. It's etched in your mind, and you just think back, and it's crazy. And we want to eventually have Craig on. I know he's on to some other things. A couple people have said he's still dabbling and building stuff, but yeah, I mean, I remember just talking to Brian Frost from SoCal Customs last week. Talking about how we were always anxious to go on his website after a run because that was the way we got a chance to see the photos.
Right. Yeah. His website was really cool. It's sad that it's what's happening is happening. How he can't really do it anymore. Or he's not doing it no more.
Yep. Yeah, I talked to him.
I got a couple. I always thought it was kind of cool. I got a couple mentions in there as far as some of the features, some of the work I've done on people's cars. I was like, kind of puts a little smile to mine now that I'm older and I see that stuff and I can go back to it as like an archive.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and, I always think back to truckrun.net as well. I don't know the homie, but, I mean, going to
that's Donald.
Yeah, Donald.
Yeah, Donald.
And to me, it's awesome because you got, back to, like, one of his first shows was, like, Forbidden Fantasy back in 2000. I mean, that's just insane.
So I think he even took it further back. I think he goes back further than SoCal Customs because I think he scanned some like pictures he had developed.
I think he did. Yeah, he definitely did. And it's just
he was definitely taken aback.
Yeah, and to me, like we're very fortunate of that because 2000. I mean, I talked to Kerry about this. That was like at the infancy of like having a digital camera, and I went to SEMA only a handful of times, but in 03 I went the year that Courtney and Jeff at Devious had debuted the Titan, and I remember I took my dad's digital camera. And those things had like no memory, right? I mean, memory cards were megabytes. They weren't even gigs then. And
right.
I remember taking like 20 photos, and then the card was full. And I was like, man, I can't take any more photos. And that was like after having taken a lot of photos on film, for years. So
how times have changed.
Yeah, and now it's like, dude, on your phone, like it's like, do you have a 250 gig, a 512? It was like crazy. But thinking back to some of the stories that you might have, was there, I'm just trying to think, was there anything you wanted to share, like from all the runs that you went to or anything that, else that came to mind?
Oh man. Well, I mentioned that one, but, I don't know. There's another one when you're leaving the river runs. You're driving to the middle of nowhere, and it must have been like 10 of us caravanning back, and some older guy, probably my age now, but when I was younger, he was an older guy. He was messing with us, wouldn't let us pass him. He was next to a big rig, and stupid me, I thought it would be cool to like, hey, you know what? I'm going to ride on the shoulder. I want to pass this guy. Well, I made it. I didn't crash or nothing, but man, when we stopped at the next exit, like when we stopped at the gas station, my president at the time laid into me, like, what the hell are you doing? I was like, fucking, the guy, like, wouldn't let us pass, dude. So I had to do what I had to do. He goes, man, you can't be doing that kind of stuff. And then, like I said, it's just checking all the new stuff, especially river runs. People would wait for those runs to debut a lot of their stuff. Saw a lot of cool rides. That one orange Lincoln Town Car, I believe, from was that
Adam? Yeah,
I saw it when it was silver. It looked stock, but just body dropped. And then I saw it the next year at the run, painted orange with the alien in the trunk.
Yep,
that thing was cool.
Yeah, I remember Steve Nielsen, he had this VHS tape, and I've been trying to rip some of it, and I swear somewhere on that VHS tape, there is a little bit of footage of it at like West Coast Nats or something when it was silver, that grayish color. And
yeah, it was like a factory color.
Yeah, I remember seeing it. My buddies and I were watching it. We're like, damn, like not only are they body dropping trucks out there, they're laying cars out flat on the ground, dude.
Yeah, and then with Facebook, you see people kind of bring that up from time to time, and then somebody will post a picture of it sitting at the junkyard, like just stripped and just tore up.
I know, and people are like, well, what happened to it? And you're just like, man. And that happened, Lonnie from NC, Texas, that's behind Lone Star Throwdown, which is one of our favorite shows every February in Conroe, Texas. And he actually documented, someone had told him there was a Ranger that was at the junkyard, and he went there, and sure enough, dude, it was his old Ranger. And you could even see the remnants of an old NC logo on it, dude.
Oh,
and
wow.
He literally like did a walk around with it, and it's on the Garage Gear Clothing YouTube page, and like I was just like, wow, dude, like it's crazy that things get to that point.
Yeah, it doesn't take much for a full blown show car to go to shit.
Oh yeah,
if somebody doesn't take care of it.
Oh yeah. I'm looking at Robert Kamalski's book. Again, we recently had him on, Local Finesse, Roads to Ruin. And what was cool is on the back, there was a photo from Spring Splash 98, and there's a whole line of trucks, and there's a big rig in the back, and, they're waiting to get in, or they pulled off on the side.
That might have been when we rode the shoulder. I'm not sure. Or we might have had a flat tire or something. But
yeah, it was something like that. It looked like everyone stopped to help out. The Local Finesse logo, to me, has always been really cool, man. And my understanding, right, I mean, the club's still around, and, they're full force, right?
Actually, yeah. We're definitely not as big as we were in SoCal.
Yep.
But we've branched out, and we have Pennsylvania, Spokane, New Jersey, Arizona, I think Phoenix and Tucson. And then we have a couple guys in Japan.
Sick.
They're pretty diehard, but we're not, like I said, not as big, but we've expanded more. Which is, it's cool.
Yeah, no doubt. And when I think back, you mentioned 94, one of my favorite years, September 94, Opie's truck, the pinkish Mitsu with the shaved license plate Frenched in. Dude, what about that? That was sick, putting Local Finesse really on the map back in the 90s.
Yeah, that truck actually, I remember when I first got in the club, he just got out of paint. And I was like, wow, man, this thing's so cool. I don't know. I mean, the color's a little... I don't know if I'd go with that kind of color. Back then, I was younger.
Sure.
But overall, it was a cool truck. And I'm like, dude, this is so cool. I've never seen actually a custom paint job on a mini truck before. I'm like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
And just I was able to ride in it over, because now I'm in his club that the truck's in.
Yeah.
And, I was younger, and I'm like, dude, this is so cool. People are looking at us because it does stand out when you're driving down the road.
Yeah, and what was cool is when Courtney shot it, like, the door panels were different. It had tweed. It had, those colors that are so reminiscent of that time, And, when we had Tall Guy on, I mentioned that Local Finesse does have an Instagram page. There are a few photos out there. Now, there's not a lot, and we hope to continue to see, posts from the club because, there's a rich history there, And, it does look like in their bio it says 88. So it says, official Instagram of Local Finesse Worldwide, established 88 in SoCal. So there we
There you go. You're teaching me something about my club.
I know, it's crazy, right? And I just happened to pick it up there and see that. But yeah, man, I mean, it's been cool because when Robert was on, I kind of wanted to delve a little bit into the history, and he kind of came into the mid to like kind of later '90s, and for you, you were graduating in the late '80s, as far as going to school, I should say, middle school. And
92, buddy. 92. I'm not that old.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, so 92. But then, you were able to give us a little bit more history, which I think is sick. And, local finesse, dude, been repping for, 30 years.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy to think. Like, I remember being that 19-year-old kid in 93 when I joined, and here I am. I just turned 48 Saturday.
Wow. Well, happy born day, dude.
Yeah, thank you. So what was that, like 29 years?
I know, right?
No, yeah, 29, because next year is going to be next year? I don't know. I'm not good at math right now.
Yeah. No, I'm the same. I'm always like, trying to figure out the dates and stuff. But
it's been a long time. A long time.
But yeah, we're talking with Jeremy Kaufman. And Jeremy, dude, are you, if anybody wants to check out your stuff, are you like Facebook, Instagram, or are you like antisocial stuff?
Yeah. No. I don't post a lot on Instagram.
Yep.
It's not my favorite platform, I guess you'd call it, because I like to be smart ass. I like to make picture comments. I like to just have fun and goof off. And Instagram, you can't do that under comments. You can only make a comment. You can't do much.
Right.
So many people follow me, and then I look to see who they are, and the thing's private.
Right.
Mine's not private. And I'm like, I don't even know who this person is. Like, I'm not going to request I don't want to request to be able to follow them if I don't know who they are.
Yep.
So I got like 1,000 people following me, and I'm following like 90.
Yeah, and it looks like you're OG Mini Trucker on there.
Yes, I am OG Mini Trucker. No underscore, no dashes, no nothing. Just OG Mini Trucker.
Yeah, Jeremy Kaufman, just how it sounds.
Yeah, and then on Facebook, as you probably saw, just local finesse. And I got my Steven Seagal profile because people say when I'm clean shaven, that's what I look like.
I was wondering about that.
Yeah, that's the only reason.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
I don't have a man crush on him or nothing.
Yeah, man, it's funny watching those old movies and stuff. I put one on recently, and I was like, the one where they're like on a ship or something. I was like, damn, this is, total
Under
90s.
Siege, man?
Yeah, Under Siege. And dude, it's like, and I recently watched Passenger 57 with Snipes from like 92, and I'm like, man, the era has changed so much, man.
Now, yeah, if you go on my Facebook page and you look under my albums, I do have a couple albums like old school local finesse, like car pictures, and then just of the club of old members and things we've done. Tall guys in some of those. Some of them, when you see the ones we're kind of dressed up like we're at a dinner at someone's house, that's Tall Guy's house.
That's sick, dude.
Yeah. So I have some of that old stuff in there.
Yeah, a lot of epic times, man. And we appreciate you sitting down with us and talking a little bit of the history. I loved hearing about some of the rides you've had, including some of the Mazda 91 Mazda that I saw on Instagram. And, some of the history of going to the truck shows and stuff, because to me, there are a lot of clubs. Some are still around, some aren't, that helped, get us to where we are today, And Local Finesse is certainly one of those clubs, man. So, but Jeremy, dude, it's been a pleasure, man. Anything else you want to plug, or anything else that I maybe missed?
Nah, off the top of my head, I really can't think of anything right now. It was a cool experience, I sit in my garage sometimes right now I still build stuff one car at a time. I got my dad's truck in here right now, a 56 Ford F100 that he wants me to do a Mustang 2 front end and 4-link and stuff. Mm-hmm. I talked him out of airbags just because I don't need him down at the beach. Well, no, not even that. Just more like I don't need him at the beach and have some problem with a valve or compressor, and I got to go down there and rescue him.
Right. I hear you.
I'm all, Dad, just go coilovers. If there's any other problem with your truck, like a motor, I'm not a motor guy, so you can call someone else.
Yeah.
But, sometimes I sit in my garage on a Friday night or something and just kind of think, I kind of reminisce about the old days working at shops and working with friends. And back at Go Easy days, it was more laid back, and we would have like the local high school kids with their new mini truck stuff come by, and we'd do drag sessions and stuff. And it was like, it was work, but it was like, we're having fun doing it too.
Yeah, man. And that's what we're here for, dude. I mean, a lot of people, say that, hey, we bring back a lot of memories and we help keep things going. And that's really what we want to do, right? We want to kind of curate the content that's out there But again, we always want to pay homage to those like a Brian Frost and all these different editors and photographers, because without them, we wouldn't be able to do what we do today. So, it's nothing but love for the scene. You know what I mean?
Right. A lot of people will kind of argue like, man, it's just not like how it used to be. Well, I'm like, yeah, it has changed, but you kind of have to change with it a little bit. It's never going to always stay the same. And at the same time, I really believe that when you have fun, say in 2000, we're partying, having a great time. Now, here we are, 2001, you can say, man, today isn't as fun as it was back in 2000. Well, no, that's just how it seems. But, you gotta make do with what you have. Like, I'm still having a blast. Like,
yep.
I'm still mini trucking. I try to go to shows. I try to go to runs. The runs are a little smaller, the one run we have now. I got kids and a wife, but, you just got to enjoy what you have and don't reminisce on the past. Just enjoy what you have going on right now.
Yeah, and I couldn't have said it any better. Someone recently kind of said the same thing. You got to kind of just roll with the times, and you got to make time to hang out with the homies. It's cool that you do what you do because you get a chance to get your hands dirty and have fun building stuff, and you're never too far away from building something cool. It sounds like. So to me, that's what it's about, man. I mean, it's what you make it. So
right, yep.
But Jeremy, dude, it's been a pleasure, bro, and thanks for giving us a little bit of insight into the old school and some of the stuff you've dealt with over the years, and much respect to all the local Finesse members worldwide, and maybe we can even tell some additional history of the club in the near future. But we appreciate you sitting down with us.
Yeah, it's been actually really fun. Something different, something I haven't done before.
Hells yeah, brother. Well, we'll keep in touch with you, and we'll stack some of those photos off your Facebook, and we'll be sharing them over these next couple weeks.
Oh, that'd be cool.
You know what I'm
saying?
saying?
Yeah, you got my Blazer in there too. You can see all that. The what I have right now, the Cadillac, all that stuff we talked about's in there.
That's what I'm talking about, homie. Well, we appreciate you, Jeremy.
Yeah, no problem. I appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you, brother. Peace.
Yep. All right. See ya.